Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me in the co-host seat, as always, is our good friend, Mr. Darren Starling.
Hello, people.
And tonight we are without Angela. She had a friend's birthday party to go to, so you've got the original duo of Doug and Darren. D&D.
Yeah, but they're a different kind of D&D.
Love you, Mook. Oh, Mom's trying to say good night to you, Mook.
Can I have a sip of water?
Little bit of water. Saying good night to my daughter. Hey, good evening, Ross. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Ross has just got home from a movie tonight. Saw The Accountant 2. I hope that you enjoyed it. I don't know anything about it. I know, Darren, you haven't had time to watch movies or much of anything, I'm sure.
I barely had time to breathe.
Did you have time to think of 10 Slice of Life anime?
Honestly, no. But that's not hard for me to come up with really quickly. But you're just gonna have to ramble for maybe 10, 15 minutes.
I can do that. I mean, I sat down earlier. I got home from work at like 5 o'clock this morning and slept for a few hours and then got up and spent time with the family and found some time to sit down. I went through my anime list, Slice of Life column. So all the shows that are listed on my anime list under the Slice of Life. And there was over 1,500 shows.
Oh, I was about to ask how many shows were there?
There was like over 1,500 shows that were listed, but of course, with my anime list, they break it down to like Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid Season 1, Dragon Maid Season 2, this short, that short, this OVA. Some shows that had multiple seasons, multiple OVAs and movies and stuff like that, it wasn't uncommon to see one title take up, anywhere between 3 and I saw as many. I think I counted 12 for a couple things. So, you take that into consideration. There's probably about 1,000 shows, maybe between 800 and 1,000 shows of the 1,500 plus that were listed.
Yeah, well, the fact that there's still that many just in that one category is still impressive.
But the sad thing is, of all those shows, now you combine all these shows and you put like the season 1s and 2s and 3s and whatever's together and just count it as one show. I have 17 written down that I've seen.
That's it?
That's it. That's all that was on there. I went through, I'm like, I've got 17 shows. And some of them were a stretch because I was like, I did see that. Some of them I didn't even finish because I didn't think they were that good. So obviously that wasn't going to make a top 10, but we haven't, Darren and I had talked about it in the past of we haven't done a top 10 in a while. And I thought with Angela not being around tonight, I thought it'd be fun for Darren and I to do another one of our fun top 10s.
Yep. I think I've probably seen, if you've only seen 17, I've probably seen more Slice of Life than you have.
Oh, I'm sure. Especially considering the fact some of the Slice of Life that I saw, I felt like it was a stretch. But having only seen 17, that was probably the easiest top 10 list that I had to put together. Ross, I'm glad that you enjoyed the movie, and you are very welcome. Again, congratulations on winning the giveaway. Ross got a plushie and a pop figure. That was the prize that he had won from the giveaway, and I'm glad that you enjoy it. And I'm glad that they have a good home. And again, thank you so much for being a fan of the show and hanging out with us so much throughout all the years. We really appreciate it. Hopefully, we'll be able to do another contest again soon. I know. Been trying to keep up with some of the stuff going on. Watching some of the newer shows. Tonight, a little while ago, I caught up on Killing Slimes for 300 years. It's been an enjoyable show.
Not about to say. So how's it comparing to season 1? Are you finding it on par? A little bit, not as memorable.
It's on par with season 1. Like the characters are still as cute. It just seems like it was a show that didn't really need a season 2, and some of the stuff almost feels like a stretch to try to get it to be, good. But it's not horrible. I've seen a lot worse.
I'm about to say, we've seen plenty of shows that are worse.
I'm in the middle of catching up on the Unaware Atelier Meister. That show has been decent. That one seems to fall in lines with shows like what if a kid from the last Dungeon Boonies moved to a starter town. Very overpowered character, but because of where they grew up, they were the weakest of their village, their clan, their area, and so they feel like all their abilities are lacking when they're stronger than just about everybody else around, other than the people that they were around in their village. Yeah, that has been a common theme I've seen amongst shows recently. Good evening, John Knight. Hope that you're having a wonderful weekend. And thank you, Ross. Ross says you guys are the best. Got a Sakura plushie from Naruto and a character from Tokyo Ghoul. So I'm glad that you enjoyed those, and like I said, I'm glad that they went to a good home. And again, congratulations on winning. We love doing the giveaways. We don't do them as much as we used to due to lack of time and money and things of that nature. As we get older and life, gives you more and more demanding things, sometimes it's tough to stay doing everything that you want to do. Darren, you know full well of how difficult it is to try to do much of anything fun, especially when, in your case, you're working 2 jobs, especially after a store remodel, and it's now springtime and lawns are starting to come back into fruition for the landscaping.
Yep. And on top of that, boss lady had to make an emergency trip out of nowhere at the very beginning of the week. So I've been having to kind of fill in for her all week. So that was also tough.
Other shows that I have been keeping up with was let's look through here. Where was it? I just seen it and then I scrolled away. Can a boy-girl friendship survive? That was on your list to watch, right, Darren?
Very much so. That's like one of the top priorities for me this season.
Have you started it?
No, I haven't started anything at all.
I will do my best not to spoil it. I will say that it has an interesting storyline. You kind of have seen it before, but at the same time, it's had some different spins. It's interesting to see how the 2 best friends, the main male and main female character, how their friendship / relationship kind of goes through some turmoil in the first few episodes, and I think you'll enjoy it. I think it'll be right up your alley.
I think so too. I've seen, I think, a clip of our main female characters, one picking on one and the other about strangling her for it. So I think that was that one.
Ross says that he does not like Himari, the blue-haired girl. She is toxic, in his opinion. She's
Yeah,
cute,
well,
but she kind of is a little wishy-washy in how she does things.
unfortunately, the blue-haired girls always have some kind of caveat to them.
They were all succubuses. Just ask Kurumi. And happy early birthday, John. John Knight says his birthday is in 1 month, so definitely a very happy early birthday.
Oh my.
Birthdays abound. Speaking of birthdays, today was Morgan Berry's birthday. So happy birthday to Morgan Berry as well. Talented voice actress who we've had on the show a few times. Darren's had a fun one-on-one with her.
Oh yeah. Now that you mention it, I do recall seeing her say something this morning at like around the time that I got up. So I think probably right around the time I got up, right around the time you were about to go to bed.
Yeah. Did I update my anime list? I have not done much with the my anime list updating since we did that live, show when I did it. Partially because I got a new computer and I have to try to remember what password and everything that I used to sign up. Because I have a few different emails that I've used for things and a few different passwords, so I've got to take the time to figure that out. And I have not had the opportunity since getting the new computer. I've had a few other things that I had been working on. Another show that caught up with, and sadly, Ange isn't here to talk with her about it, but Apothecary Diaries, caught up with that earlier today. Really enjoy watching that with my wife. We both really love this show. Mamo is still such a fun character. She's a fun and adorable character. This most recent episode, Fit hits the shan, so to speak, and they kind of leave you hanging. Curious to see where it's gonna go from here.
Now remind me, is this a core 2 or is this like a season 2 at this point?
It's season 2, part 2.
Okay, so a second core and a second season.
Mm-hmm. And so, I love, how well this show is written. I love the storyline. I really enjoy the characters. And I love the fact that I've talked about it enough that, and I mentioned it last week about the engineer that I was working with a couple of weeks ago had sat down and binged like 7 hours worth of Apothecary Diaries on Netflix while I was in the hotel. Apparently, this last trip with him, he took my advice and started Freerun.
Oh my!
And has really enjoyed he's watched the first 3 episodes of Freerun and has really loved that, or really enjoyed that show.
Well, I mean, it did win a whole bunch of awards, or at least a whole bunch of nominations for a reason.
Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed both shows, and when we did do our voting for the Crunchyroll Awards, I had a hard time choosing between the 2 shows many times. And I think I chose Apothecary Diaries over Freerun for a lot of categories,
I believe you did.
which I'm sure surprised some people. Especially with how much I carried on about how much I love Freerun. Ross in the chat says that he is loving the new season of Aharon-san. They even did half of the recent episode on a full Animal Crossing reference. However, Danny Chambers is not returning as the main Aharon-san in the new season. Someone else is taking over for her. And we lost Darren for a minute. I'm sure he'll be back in just a moment. Another show that I've been watching, The Brilliant Healers, New Life in the Shadows. That one has been entertaining. I kind of like how it has started. Welcome back, Darren.
I don't know how I did that, but okay.
It's haunted.
The fun times of technology.
Oh yeah. I was just going into talking about The Brilliant Healers, New Life in the Shadows. That's another show that I've been watching and keeping up with this season. 5 episodes have dropped. I've been enjoying it. It's a story of somebody who was branded as useless, self-taught healer, so he's not a registered healer, which in this world you need to be registered to properly be a healer. He decides to open his own clinic from the shadows, overcharging people for his work, but at the same point in time, his abilities far surpass that of just about any other healer in that world. So of course he gets the ire of he works in the slums. There's 3 different factions that run the slums. He ends up healing people from all 3 factions, which gets the attention of the leaders of those 3, which of course are all female, and all end up spending way too much time at his clinic. He also ends up getting, because of his abilities and his way of being able to get the 3 factions to stop fighting amongst each other and actually come to peace. It brings, raises questions within the kingdom. They start sending out, people to investigate what's going on. And so the story goes from there, and we'll see what kind of chaos. And it feels like he's got a harem growing. I think this one would be up your alley as well, Darren.
Gotcha.
Another one that I have been watching was Catch Me at the Ballpark. That one actually is not horrible. I don't know what I was expecting when I first saw it. They do, talk a lot about things that go on at the ballpark, and it follows the vendor girls that go around, selling beers and stuff like that, and some of the interactions that they have with the fans. And you have some storylines that coincide with actual baseball games and things of that nature. But it's just kind of a fun, palate cleansing, enjoyable show. I don't think it's going to be like people aren't going to be knocking down the walls. I don't even know if you'll see anybody cosplay from it, but it's not like it's a horrible, horrible show. Another show that I've been watching, The Two Perfect Saint, tossed aside by my fiance and sold to Another Kingdom. That has to be a light novel because of the
Expensive
extremely
title.
long title. I have been tripping over my words all day. So this is going to be an interesting show. That has been good. That kind of feels like I want to say it has a similar feel to like Snow White with the red hair and Saint's magic power is omnipotent. I really enjoy the storyline behind it. It's about a girl who is considered a saint because she has holy powers that can cleanse demons. She's mistreated horribly by her home country because she has spent her whole life studying to be a saint. That she's not very personable. She doesn't smile. She's not friendly towards people. She's your typical ice queen, straight faced, focused on what's supposed to do. And everything. When she gets sold to the different kingdom, and she was Ross, I agree with you. She was treated horribly in that first episode. Ross said that the first episode had made him angry as to how badly she was treated. And it was like they didn't even treat her like a human. They treat her like an item that you could just kind of discard, which is horrible. But that's in my opinion, and I've said it before, that's a sign of a well-written story when they can get you to fall in love with or fully hate certain characters based off of actions, attitudes. When it goes from the book form to anime form, the voice actors bring these characters to life to where you're like, I just despise this person. And that shows a good sign of great writing and in the anime sense, great voice acting as well to get you to hate that. So I have high hopes for that one for Two Perfect Saint. Another one that I started was The Beginning After the End. I only watched the first episode. I've got 3 more to watch to catch up on. Not sure what I think about it yet. I'll give it a few more episodes and then really give a full, honest opinion. And then we had started one on High Dive. Let me pull up High Dive and see if I can remember which show it was that the wife and I started watching on High Dive. From bureaucrat to villainous, Dad's been reincarnated. So my wife suggested watching that one because it could be kind of funny. And so we decided, what the hell, we'll give it a shot. Basically, it starts out, you have a 52-year-old civil servant who in typical isekai fashion. Can you guess what happens, Darren?
He got killed by a truck.
Truck-kun makes an appearance. A little boy chasing a ball. He dives it. The 52-year-old jumps in, pushes a kid out of the way, gets hit by a car. Gets hit by Truck-kun, and thus he ends up going into an Otome game to play the part of a villainess. It's kind of an interesting spoof where I'm not going to lie, it feels almost identical to that other villainous one that I had watched. That come out, the one that started all the villainous trends.
I know which one you're talking about. Something reborn as a villainous, all routes lead to doom.
Yeah, it basically feels like that. Only difference is you have a 52-year-old father otaku who ends up in basically his daughter's Otome game. So it's been entertaining. Only watched the first 2 episodes. It's been kind of funny. Curious to see how things go with it. Be interesting to really be able to compare the two. All routes lead to doom and bureaucrat to villainous. So I'll probably keep up with it, and so I can give the comparison. And if my wife really enjoys this one, I'll may see if she wants to watch the other one. Ross in the chat asked, have I checked out Gorilla God Girl? I have not. I don't even think that was on my list. I think I had enough of Gorilla Girls from with Saria. But I might give it a shot. It's not uncommon that Ross recommends a show and I end up stuck in a hotel and I'm like, you know what, I'll check this out. So I'm not going to rule it out. And then John Knight in the chat has questions for us. Darren asking, what is your favorite anime from WIT Studio? He also asked for a favorite from Cloverworks and Madhouse.
Well, wow. Oh, Madhouse is known for a lot of stuff.
So let me look here and see WIT Studio. What has WIT done? Oh, WIT's Spy Family.
Okay. Give me 2 seconds. I finally found a show that classifies as slice of life, so I'm trying to
get your list together on that.
Trying to go through that. I'll join in momentarily.
Okay. So I will say, of the stuff that WIT Studios has put out, obviously I have seen Spy Family. My dear friend Noko Noko-tan. I started that one. I didn't finish the dear girl one. Scrolling through. I think I had seen Rolling Girls. I watched that, but I don't remember much about it. So I probably would have to say, from WIT, I have to go with Spy Family.
Okay,
And then
which studio?
For WIT, WIT, I would have to say Spy Family would be my favorite anime from that studio.
Okay, one sec. All right, give me a second. Well, Studio WIT and Cloverworks did this, so
The Spy Family.
yeah.
Cloverworks is going to be tougher.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh, I got 2 right off the top of my head on that one.
On Cloverworks?
No, on Studio WIT.
What do you got for Studio WIT?
Vinland Saga.
I never saw that.
Seraph at the end was halfway decent also. I'm a little disappointed they haven't done more with that. Let's see, what else have I watched from Studio WIT? Oh wow, they did a Pokemon movie. They also did. Well, they did one of Angie's favorite, Ascendance of a Bookworm. They did the Ancient Magus Bride.
What did Magus Bride?
At least one of the recaps. No, Rolling Girl. Yeah, I'm not a huge Studio Wit watcher, but I would have to say my favorite from there is definitely Vinland Saga.
Okay.
But yes, they did Magus Bride.
Okay. I scrolled through it. I didn't remember. I didn't notice it, but oh, there it is. I didn't recognize it because I didn't see because it was in the Japanese title, not the English.
Yeah, it looks like
Are
Attack
they?
on Titan just kind of dominated most of Studio Wit.
Yeah, I was not an Attack on Titan fan. I watched one episode. Was like, nah, I'm not. I'm done.
You know, it's funny for Cloverworks considering I've watched a lot of these.
I know. I look at Cloverworks and I'm like, okay, well, you have Spy Family, Darling in the Franxx, My Dress Up
Hori,
Darling. I know that you
Horimiya.
had Rascal Doesn't Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai.
Yep.
I've got Bochi
Horimiya.
the Rock. What was that?
Horimiya.
Horimiya,
Promise Neverland.
Fairy Tale.
Ange would have Wonder Egg Priority.
Yep.
And did she do Windbreaker?
I think she did do Windbreaker.
Okay. Then you got How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend.
Yep. You've got even as a guild master, I would solo a boss to get up to clock out on time.
Yep, which was a fun one that we all agreed on.
Yep.
You got Bochi the Rock for you.
Yeah, I had mentioned Bochi. I'd seen that one. This is tough because they have put out so much good stuff.
They had a role in the Spy Family movie also. Let's see. Uh,
Hmm. But if I had to pick one, oh, that's tough.
for me, it would probably be a tie between. It would probably be a three-way tie because I can't pick just one out of that. Because I love Horimiya, I love Dress Up
Rascal.
Darling, and
Yeah.
I love Rascal.
I would probably have to edge towards Dress Up Darling just because that was so good.
Honestly, I would have to give it to Bunny Girl.
But I
Bunny
haven't seen
Girl,
Bunny Girl or Horimiya. Actually, I think I watched Horimiya, but I don't remember much about it.
I would have to give it to Bunny Girl, Horimiya, and then Dress Up Darling. I love Dress Up Darling, but Horimiya hit way harder, and Bunny Girl definitely hit harder.
And you love your bunny girls.
Yes, I love my Mai.
And John says, Doug, you stopped watching the Ancient Magus' Bride anime. I watched the first season. I watched one episode of season 2, and it just didn't feel the same. Maybe given time in the hotel, I may go and try to watch it again, watch season 2 again. But it just, I don't know if it was because of the amount of time in between season 1 and season 2. It just didn't feel like season 1 did. So, like I said, I might give it a chance again, but we'll see what happens with that. As far as Madhouse, as his third studio that he asked, what's our favorite anime from Studio Madhouse?
That's going to be a really hard one.
Especially considering the fact that they start off with shows like Death Note, One Punch Man, Hunter x Hunter, No Game, No Life, Overlord, High School of the Dead.
Mm-hmm. Death Parade.
Death Parade. Free Run.
Irregular at Magic High School. Batum for the older crowd. And that was not me.
Trigun.
Wolf's Ring? Is that?
That's Wolf Children.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Wolf Children.
Going old school, Nana
and My Love Story.
Mm-hmm.
My Love Story was actually pretty good.
Hajime no Ippo. Talked OP Destiny. I meant to go watch that. Chobits.
I forgot about Chobits. That might be one I go back and rewatch at some point.
Chihaya Furu was one of the only Madhouse titles to be getting a second season there for a while until Overlord broke that. Devil May Cry. I forgot they did Chaos Head.
No Guns Life. I remember I watched a couple episodes of that and was like, this is just ridiculous. And I had to just stop watching.
Let's see. Boogie Pop Phantom, I believe, is the name. Boogie Pop and others.
They have a few different Boogie Pop ones that they did. Card Captor Sakura.
Vampire Hunter. Hunter.
Overlord movies.
Yep.
She's Sweet Home.
Catherine Sins. Strawberry Panic.
I've heard of that one.
I'm dating myself on that one. Needless.
Good God. You go, and it's funny, the farther down you scroll, the older you look at the art style, and you're like, my God, that's got to be really old anime with that art style.
Card Captor stuff. Photokano? I can't. Did I? No, I watched Magicano at the behest of one of my friends. Let's see. Hanayamata? I did watch. Very forgettable anime, but. You know, it is kind of refreshing to see some of these older art style animes and be like, anime was pretty good back then too.
Yeah, and it's fun to look back and be like, my, how times have changed and how art styles have changed and how, artists and, technology have made it to where shows can just be really, really good regardless of the art style.
Mm-hmm. The Black Lagoon. There's one I haven't heard in a while.
I scrolled down to the bottom of the list trying to find other shows that I'd heard of, which there wasn't many. I would probably have to say for me, Freerun, for Madhouse.
Trying to make sure that I didn't miss anything here. Because I know Madhouse, on top of the fact it's done so many good shows, it's one of the older studios that's been around a while.
Yeah. But the question rages, have you had enough time to get your top 10 slice of life list together?
Almost. Let's see. But of my favorites for Madhouse, I would honestly have to give it to No Game, No Life. And now, Guilty Pleasure, definitely High School of the Dead.
Yep.
But like favorite out of enjoyability, definitely No Game, No Life.
No Game, No Life was good. I just wish that they had made more.
Oh, I agree. And then
They left
longest.
you hanging after the first season, and then they came out with a movie that everybody was like, "Oh, is it a continuation?" No, it was the prequel. This is what happened beforehand.
Yep.
So it never really scratched that itch of what happened. What happens next in No Game, No Life?
Yep. And then quality wise, I have to give it to quality wise for that. I would have to give to Death Parade. And then for a series that's been animated the most of, like the most of a single series I've watched from Madhouse would go to obviously Overlord. 'Cause they do a
Overlord
good
was
job in every
fantastic.
season.
Overlord was fantastic. I need to watch season 3 and 4.
I have to say, because there's more coming. And
Need
eventually I will
to
go
have
back
more
and
Eins. Eins will go.
and eventually I'm gonna go back and watch Chihaya Furu. I've heard so much about it. I'm like, I'll go back and watch it eventually.
Eventually, you got go back and watch that High School DxD.
Well, I'll be rewatching part of it here soon because that'll be Angela's welcome gift.
I still think you should just put on the first episode of Vending Machine.
Or Freerun.
Well, Freerun, I think you both would actually enjoy. Vending Machine would be just to torture the girl.
If you want to send me to an early funeral,
Maybe I can torture her if Pop Cult comes to fruition.
maybe.
That way I can take the full brunt. Well, if Pop Cult comes to fruition, maybe we can get you up to Mass as well. And for the first time in AZR history, have everybody together at once for a show.
You know, it's kind of sad though. I'm going through a lot of these shows, and what I thought would have been considered slice of life were more romance.
Yeah, and Ross in the chat says his favorites for Slice of Life constantly changes, but the top two on his brain are Restaurant to Another World and Miss Caretaker Sonohara. I forgot about Miss Caretaker. I don't remember seeing that on. Let me look that up.
Wow, I'm even finding some of my little obscure anime that I forgot about.
Is that considered? Themes, theme harem, genres comedy, ecchi. So that wasn't even in slice of life category, which is why I didn't see that listed. Like I said, I just went through all of
What my anime list
what
had
my
listed
anime list
as-
classified as. But if we're throwing that one in in there, if we're putting Miss Caretaker, then I may have to make some adjustments.
Yeah, because yeah, like I said, there was a lot of romance that I would consider slice of life, but apparently are not considered slice of life, which is actually making this pretty easy and is completely separating the list from romance, which I kind of appreciate. Let's see.
So we'll bump that out, change that one up.
I
All
love
right.
how I'm seeing the same animes over and over and over and over again in this.
You see what I mean by I saw some animes in there. I think they were like in there like 12 times.
Yep. Love Live.
Love Live. There's a couple others that just. Yeah, 1,548 slice of life animes. What were some of the other ones I had seen in there constantly? Natsumi's Book of Friends was in there a lot. Love Live was in there a ton because there was 4 different iterations and multiple seasons, OVAs, and movies of each different iteration of Love Live. What were you gonna say?
No, I found one that I wouldn't even really consider slice of life. Well, the specials might be, but I don't know about the main series. Now I gotta look it up.
And I'm kind of curious about a couple others that I thought might have fallen into that.
See, that's funny. So the main series didn't fall into the slice of life category, but the specials did because I guess because it was a short drama. That's funny.
Genre comedy. Okay, so they didn't consider that to be slice of life. They considered that to be comedy. Um, what about this one? Was this considered slice of life? Because I would think that one would be. Oh, that one's considered comedy as well. Okay, maybe that can be our next one. Is go after comedies. I would have thought that After School Dice Club would have been a slice of life one, but they consider that a comedy on my anime list.
I'm just amazed at all the shows on here, and I'm realizing just how few slice of life I've actually watched.
Same. I'm up to 18 with Miss Caretaker.
I think I might have less than that. I don't think I may barely have 10.
Oh, trust me, it was a struggle. Like I said, three of the shows that I added on were shows I started but never finished. I dropped for one reason or another, and that includes Rail Romanesque, Uchitama, Rolling Girls. I watched, but I remember absolutely nothing of it. I just know I watched it. Endro, I know I watched. I remember nothing of it.
Yeah, that's also one of the worst rated shows of all time.
So
Yeah, I
it's
do
like
remember.
I will also categorize by saying that I included all the seasons of shows wrapped up into one. So something like Love Live Superstar that had 3 seasons. When I did my ranking, I included it as all 3 seasons as a whole, not season 1 compared to season 2 and compared to season 3.
Ross, my anime list categorization would disagree. We don't make the rules. We just read what.
Yeah. But that's just, like I said, we were just going up on my anime lists, suggestions of what they have listed as slice of life. Obviously, there are shows that we all feel probably should have been put in there that were not for one reason or another. But yeah, if we do like comedy next, comedy alone shows 7,675 shows to go through.
And I'm sure that's one of the bigger categories, but not the biggest.
Let's see. Comedy as a genre is the biggest.
Oh, it is the biggest?
Yeah, comedy is the biggest, followed by fantasy at 5,800. Action at 5,499. Adventures got 4,327. Sci-fi at 3,421. Then very close, you have Slice of Life and Supernatural, both 1,500s. Avant-Garde with 1,036, and then you get into smaller categories. The baby category, Girls Love at 118, Boys Love at 189. 2 genres.
There's more boys love than there is girls love? That's shocking.
Apparently, according to MAL.
That is shocking.
But while Darren is finishing up his list, I will start off with my number 10. And like I said, I added Caretaker of Sanohara. I moved some around, so the new number 10 is Kohana Katan. It was a good show. I enjoyed it. It's a show I actually finished watching on the list here. So all 10 I finished.
For all of these shows, may not be a bad idea. Pull up my anime list on your thing, and that way we can kind of give them a visual and a brief synopsis.
All right, that's a great idea. Let me get that ready.
That way they'll have at least some idea as to what the heck we're rambling about.
Yeah.
What the heck? There's a show called Peeping Life?
So Kohana Kitan, my number 10, is in a bustling village of spirits. Yuzu, a cheerful fox girl, starts her first job as an attendant at the traditional hot springs in Konohamatte. Though Yuzu has no experience working at such a high-class establishment, Kiri, the affable and reliable head attendant, immediately puts her to work learning the basics. While Yuzu's eagerness initially proves to be more of a hindrance than a blessing, her playful nature brings a unique charm to the inn as both customers and her fellow workers quickly warm up to her clumsy yet well-meaning mistakes. Under the guidance of the other foxes, the rigid Satsuki, the carefree Natsumi, and the critical Ren, and the quiet Sakura, Yuzu steadily learns the trade of an inn attendant while learning to love the magical world surrounding her. Kohana Kitan presents the heartwarming tale of a simple fox girl forging bonds with others and finding a home amidst the mysterious, beautiful world of spirits. So it was a cute series. I did remember watching that. I did enjoy that quite a bit.
All right. You can go ahead and keep going. I'm almost done because I'm getting into the shows that I know absolutely nothing about.
I am trying to find the show here. Farming Life in Another World is my number 9. And it says, having died of sickness at the age of 39, Machiro Hiraku is given the opportunity to go to another world. When asked what his wish is by God, intending to give him strength, he requests to have a healthy body. Offered a second wish, he chooses to live peacefully. A third wish, to be able to know the local language. And for a final wish, to be able to be a farmer.
So in other words, he just kept being so mediocre that God was like, "Why are you not asking for more?"
Pretty much. And through his time of having the farm, he ends up turning, living in an extremely dangerous forest area where he is able to grow anything he wants with magic tools. Ends up turning what should have been a single person dwelling into an entire village with elf girls and wolves and all kinds of stuff. It was a very entertaining series. I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy it. It was highly entertaining. Number 8 on my list, Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. That one was considered, I considered that more of a comedy than some of the other ones that were listed as comedies, but they have it as a slice of life.
I can kind of understand why, because there's not really much of any romance involved, and you are watching Kobayashi live out her daily life with the antics of
Dragons.
girl.
The
Yeah.
Antics of Dragons.
Mhm.
It was a good show. I enjoyed it. I think season 2 was better than season 1, if I'm being honest. I think Lulu was a great addition to the cast. Kana, of course, is adorable and will be getting her own spin-off movie coming this year.
I still like Lucoa.
Of course.
And then, of course, I gotta give credit to Fafnir.
Fafnir was a very well done dragon, and I think the voice actor who did his English and the Japanese voices did an amazing job at keeping him smug but likable.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to find a character that's like that self-centered, but you still like them. A lot of times, it's just like they're insufferable, and you hate them with everything you've got. Number 7 on the list, with the newly addition, was Miss Caretaker of Sonohara. Synopsis of that one: Aki Shina has always been perceived as a girl because of his feminine appearance. Wishing to change himself and forget his past, he moves to a dorm and enrolls in a middle school in Tokyo. Arriving at his new home, Aki is warmly welcomed by the dorm's caretaker, Ayako Sonohara, who immediately takes a liking to him. But he soon finds out that all of his new roommates are girls from the student council. The girls often tease Aki, seeing him as very girlish. However, still determined to become more masculine, Aki tries his best to help the people around him. It was a cute slice of life. It was very enjoyable, fun watch. I would recommend it. Yeah, a 6.73 score. I think that is fitting for it. Now, I probably would have given it like a 6.5 to a 6.8 myself.
Okay, so I'm done, I think. And the sad part of all of this, if I'm reading this right, I have 10 shows exactly that I even watch that are considered slice of life. That's terrible.
John Knight says the only slice of life anime he watched was Natsumi's Book of Friends dub. Ross says there was a romantic comedy that was a slice of life from Cloverworks that he watched on YouTube years ago. Was curious about it. Turned out to be a freaky series called Riselmine. It's an anime he doesn't recommend. I've never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Unless it's under a different name.
All right, Darren, I've gone through down to number 7. We'll let you start from 10 down to 7, and then we can alternate from there.
Okay, give me 2 seconds, because like I said, just because I found all of these
Oh, okay.
doesn't mean that I've been able to put them in line. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss anything.
All right, I'll go down to number 6, and then the top 5 we can alternate.
And probably the funniest part to all this is a lot of these are predominantly on the first page are ones that I had initially planned on watching.
So number 6 on my list is Nekopara. A fun and lovable show.
You gotta have your cat girls.
You got to have the cat girls when you have chocolate and vanilla, along with coconut, Azuki, cinnamon, and maple. Of course, Chocolate goes out on an errand, ends up coming home with another cat which they name Cacao, who becomes a member of the family as well. It's just like an overdose of cuteness with some adult jokes mixed in. If it wasn't for Maple, who in the picture up here is the purple-haired girl, if it wasn't for her, I would almost say that it could possibly have been age appropriate for most ages. She ruins that. My favorite of all the cat girls is Coconut, who is the blonde over here. She's got like the 2 different colored eyes. Her character is modeled after a Maine Coon cat, so she is larger than the other girls in the show because of the cat that she is modeled after.
And I like cinnamon.
I mean, they're all cute. So that leaves my top 5. We will let Darren get ready to run through 6 through 10 on his list.
Well, I really wouldn't even put this one on my list because of how forgettable it was, but
you only have 10 up there, so unfortunately all of them have to count.
Pretty much.
Ross says his favorite is cinnamon, followed by vanilla, and then maple.
Okay. But just for a gag, I happened to catch this and I was like, what the heck? So, Do you know what they actually put in? Apparently, they put some short videos out for.
No.
Google Chrome. Gambare Chrome. There's a series of short videos from Google Japan to promote the Chrome web browser.
And you've seen them?
No, I haven't seen them. I just happened to
Oh.
see that, and I'm like, is this for real?
Oh, I was gonna say, is that on your list?
No, not at all.
What you do is you find those videos and send them to Angela. They just flood her box back. You have to check this out.
And
Don't
apparently
even
there's
watch them
only
yourself. Just send them to her.
and apparently there's only one voice actress for the whole show. So that's funny.
That is funny.
So going by my anime list's official quote unquote slice of life designation, I would have to go with one of the most forgettable shows I watched, and that's Hana Yamata.
All right.
So if you could pull that up for me, I'll read it. And that was a Studio Madhouse title.
What was it? Hana.
Hanayamata.
All right, I found it right here. Let me pull that up here.
I said, and this is only because of how my anime list designated slice of life categories. At tender age,
Oh, go ahead, Dan.
yeah, I got it. At the tender age of 14, high school student Naru Sekia finds that she pales in comparison to the fairy tale princesses she adores so much. Not to mention the ideal girl she wants to be in contrast to her peers. Her childhood friend Yaya Sasame is enjoying herself with her school rock band, while her other childhood friend Tami Nishimikado is a member of the student council. Desiring the strength to take the next step forward, Nara has wanted a magic key to open her timid heart since the start of high school. During one moonlit night, Naru encounters what she believes is a cute fairy standing atop a torii gate, who shortly invites her to dance with her. The next day, she discovers that the fairy was not only just an ordinary girl, but also a transfer high school student from America. Excited to meet Naru again, Hana and Fountain Stand encourages her to help her start a club for the Yosakoi, a festive type of Japanese dance that Hana has been entranced by since childhood. Though initially terrified of Hana's enthusiasm and thought of being seen dancing, Nara slowly finds herself immersed in the art of Yosakoi and assisting her new friend achieve her dream, for the path of a maiden such as herself is at the mercy of the wind. It was a cute series, but very forgettable.
So, are you saying that the 7.31 score is a little too high, or?
Nah, that's about right. It was forgettable to me because it's not my type of show, but I watched it anyway.
Yeah.
So it was enough to at least keep me invested. But aside from that, I don't remember much about it other than I remember it being a show about dancing. So I did watch a dancing show. Haha.
Well, he danced around his house watching it.
Yep.
He danced like nobody's watching.
Yep. So now we're going. Whoops. That one's going to be higher on my list. I'm just going to have to remember to bring it back up. Okay, so next we're going for those. We're going for those very, very short shows.
All right.
Next would be on. I believe this is considered A slice of life, so we're gonna roll with it. Yep. One-chan ga kita. One-chan is one word.
One-chan. What was it? Gakinta?
Ga kita.
One-chan Gakita. Kita?
Yep.
All right.
The story revolves around Tomoya Mizuhara, a 13-year-old boy who suddenly gains a big sister when his father remarries. 17-year-old Ichika is a little strange, and her affection for Tomoya is rather overwhelming, if not scary. On top of things, Ichika's friend Ruri is the ultimate sadist. Then there's Ichika's big-breasted quarter Japanese friend Marina. So basically, a step sibling relationship to in the regards to the big sister is the doting one, like overly over the top doting.
Okay.
It's cute, and actually, now that I think about it, I would actually probably put that as number 8. But so yeah, I think I would actually put that as number 8. So number 9 would actually be Alice or Alice. That's the actual name of the show.
Alice or Alice down here. Aired April 4th, 2018 to June 20th. So it debuted on my birthday in 2018.
Oh,
I
wow.
I don't remember it. I don't know if I've heard of this one.
It was a short one. This story gives a look at the daily life of a pair of twins and their older brother who has a sister complex. So, there you go. Eating meals, getting into fights, playing with friends. Would you like to peek at the heartful daily life of the cute Alices? It was a fun, short show. That's all there was to it. Not that very memorable. It was just cute.
I see it had a rating of 5.35.
Yeah, it's the lowest rated one on this slice of life list that I've actually watched.
So we've done 10, 9, 8, number 7 on Darren's list.
Let's see. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. I would have to go with the Comic Girls.
Comet
This
Girls?
this was actually a very good show. Doug.
I am not seeing Comet Girls.
Just type in Comic Girls.
I did. COMETGIR.
No, not comic, comic.
Oh, comic. Okay, COMIC. That would probably help. Comic. So haha funny
Yes.
girls.
No, you would think, but no. Kaoruko Chaos Moeta is a young manga artist. So this show is all about manga artists.
Okay, that came out the same time as the last show that you had on there. Aired April 5th, 2018 to June 21st, 2018.
Yep. So this young manga artist is down on her luck. She wants to draw manga about high school girls. But her storyboards are bland, her art uninspired, and her premise is weak. Her concerned, exasperated editor comes up with an idea: push chaos to be more social. So by her recommendation, Chaos moves into a dormitory for female manga artists. She soon meets the other residents, Tsubasa Katsuki, a shonen manga artist, Ruki Irakawa, who draws erotic manga popular with women. Write that down. And Koizuka, a shoujo artist who, like Chaos, has yet to be serialized. Quickly stirring up a friendship with these girls, Chaos finds new inspiration for her manga and continues to grow her creativity. Comic Girls is a showcase of the daily lives of these manga artists. Will Chaos finally be able to make her debut and become serialized? None of the girls know, but they will all do their best to help each other become the best artists that they can be. So, all in all, I really did like this show.
I think you and Angela both have recommended this to me.
Are you sure it wasn't Ross?
It could have been Ross as well. I remember being told about a manga anime because I like New Game and I like After School Dice Club. Learning more about like the creations of things. I know I had a manga one that was recommended my way.
Okay. And that
Russ's
was
Comic Girls, love that one.
Yes, Chaos Chan was adorable, Ross. And what am I on now? Number 6?
Number 6.
Nekopara.
All right, we just had so we had the same number 6.
Yep.
What did you like about Nekopara?
Cute cat girls. All of them. I like their anthropomorphic traits. Even though they're technically human with animal features versus animal with human features.
Yeah. Number 5 on my list, I had to stay with the cat theme, but this one goes to My Roommate is a Cat. That was just such a cute series. Subaru Mikazuki is a 23-year-old mystery novel author, major introvert, and an awkwardly shy person. He would much rather stay home to read a book than go outside and interact with others. Further exacerbating this life of solitude, his parents tragically died in an accident many years ago, leaving him alone in the world. One day, while giving offerings to his parents' grave, Subaru runs into a small gray and white cat named Haru, which he ends up taking home with him. Subaru, however, has never taken care of anyone else in his life. Can he even take care of a cat? Haru is grateful towards Subaru as he gives her all the food she wants, a luxury for a cat who is used to a rough life on the street. But she notices that Subaru can't even seem to take care of himself. Will she be okay with this stunt? Very cute, heartwarming little story about guy who's lost a lot of stuff, as it showed in the synopsis. Parents died, he's by himself, lives alone, is a shut-in basically. Takes in a cat, and because of this little gray and white cat that he takes in named Haru, and for those of you keeping score, yes, that's how my cat Haru got her name, was because of Haru from this show. He ends up, having to go to the pet store to find out, okay, what do I need for a cat? Where he meets the young lady that you see pictured holding another cat. He then meets a family that took in one of Haru's brothers, who was a stray cat. And other people come up in along the way. So it was a really neat story, and you get to see the show through the eyes of him, and then you get to see it through the eyes of Haru, the cat. So, and in the English dub, I believe Haru was voiced by Jade Saxton. I could be wrong. I'm going off of memory. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it was really, really well done, really cute. Definitely would recommend. Yeah, I was gonna say I'd probably give it like a 7.8 rating, and I just noticed this has a 7.72. So I would say that's right there with what I would have given this show. It was really good. And now for Darren's number 5.
Okay. I'm gonna throw one in there where for some reason the main series isn't considered a slice of life. So this will be like an extra. It's not my number 5, but I would throw it in as number 5 if it counted.
Okay.
For some reason, the specials for this show are considered slice of life, but not the main show itself. And that's 1 Week Friends.
Yeah, this one it just says genre drama, theme school shonen.
Yep. But
But
the
you said the specials are in there.
specials are considered slice of life for some reason.
So we can put this in as your number 5. I mean, we made the exception for Caretaker of Sunahara as well. So
Okay. So that would bump off one of the ones I already mentioned, but that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and read this because this was an interesting premise and is one of the more well done romances in my opinion. Um, for the age bracket. 16-year-old Yuki Hase finally finds the courage to speak to his crush and ask her if she wants to be friends. The object of his affection, Kaori Fujimiya, is a quiet and reserved girl who cuts herself off from everyone and does not spare him the same blunt rejection she gives everybody else. Sometime after, Yuki finds her eating lunch on the roof where she secludes herself during break. He decides to start meeting with Kaori every day in the hopes of beginning to understand her better. The more time they spend together, the more she begins to open up to him. However, nearing the end of the week, she starts to push him away once more. It's revealed to him that the reason for Kaori's cold front is at the end of the week, her memories of those close to her, excluding her family, are forgotten as they are reset every Monday. The result of an accident in middle school, the once popular and kind Kaori is now unable to make friends in fear of hurting people dear to her. Determined to become more than just 1 week friends, Yuki asks her the exact same question each Monday: would you like to be friends? Because he knows that deep down, Kaori wishes for that more than anything.
well, that's kind of a neat premise. Not something that you see a lot.
Nope. And this show is 10 years old. This came out in 2014.
Yeah. So technically, it's 11 years old now.
Yep. And it's been one of the more subtle slice of life romances that I've seen.
And Ross says that 1 Week Friends is a good one. So Ross approves.
Why do you do, Ross? So if I were to leave that one out, then my number 5 would be, if it's for my daughter, I'd even defeat a demon lord.
That one I think we all know. We've seen that one around. I'll
Yep.
have to type that one in. I can if you want.
18-year-old adventurer is skilled, kind, and respected traveler and acknowledged by one of the top adventurers in the city of Troyes. One day, while on a hunt for magical beasts, he comes across a sweet devil girl named Latina. She is alone, dressed in rags, and bears the devil's symbol of a criminal and a broken horn. Concerned for her well-being, Dale decides to ensure her safety by bringing her to his home, eventually leading to him adopting her. Latina is sweet, innocent, and compassionate, and charming Dale beyond his expectations. He begins to enjoy the life of parenthood. experiencing the trials that come with raising a child and coping with the heartache he feels whenever his busy life as an adventurer parts him from her. Although work and life as a new parent become reassuring, constants reveal the mysteries surrounding the girl remain. Why was Latina alone in the forest, and why does she harbor the symbol of a criminal? At the same time, Latina also begins to learn about the world and herself as she adjusts to her new life with Dale. So, very wholesome series where a young girl abandoned by her kind is picked up by a human and then is raised as that of a human. So kind of the opposite of a lot of adventure fantasy shows where the human is raised by a different breed.
Interesting.
It's a very cute series. It really is. Because he is quite powerful for an adventurer, and she is adorable. Honestly, Doug, I think that's one you would like if you haven't watched it already.
I have not seen it yet. I'll have that. I'll keep it as a possibility. And Ross in the chat says, "Yep, Latia is best girl." Number 4 on my list, we have Restaurant to Another World, seasons 1 and 2. Season 1 was great. And the synopsis for those who have not seen Restaurant to Another World, Western Restaurant Nicoya is a popular eatery located on a street corner in a Tokyo shopping district. Serving both traditional Japanese fare as well as Western dishes, this eating establishment is popular among Tokyo's residents. But the seemingly ordinary restaurant is also popular with another type of clientele. While the restaurant is thought to be closed on Saturdays, the truth is that on this special day each week, its doors are instead open to the inhabitants of other worlds. From dragons and elves to fairies and mages, this restaurant has no shortage of strange customers. Nevertheless, the enigmatic chef, known only as Master, will be waiting to serve up their favorite dishes with a kind smile and keep them coming back for many more Saturdays to come. Very wholesome, very cute, and I know I've said it before, but the main girl that you see in the picture here, she is one of those underrated waifus. She's absolutely adorable. I think Aletta is her name. Really like the show. When season 2 came out, in my mind I was like, it was a great season. 1 was good. I don't know if it needed a season 2. And then season 2 actually brought a whole storyline in that you didn't notice in season 1, which made the whole series, in my opinion, even more enjoyable. And I think because of season 2, that's why it got bumped into top 5 into my number 4 spot. Ross in the chat said Red Dragon Queen in Restaurant to Another World makes him melt. And Altia is also best girl. So there was a lot of good characters in this, and it was neat to see how people from different worlds, different backgrounds, just got together. People who might have been enemies in this other world, they meet on a Saturday at this restaurant. Put everything off to the side, sit down at a table together, and share a meal. Just really wholesome, really cute. And like I said, a storyline develops, which I did not see coming in season 2, and really, really thought that the surprise in that made the show a lot better. I would have given it a higher score. I probably would have given this like a 7.8 or a 7.9, as opposed to the 7.41 that almost 120,000 users have given it the vote for. Number 4 on your list, Darren.
All right. This one is kind of a unique one and very popular among my friends from my high school and anime lovers days. Tawawa on Monday.
Tawawa?
Yeah, TAWAWA. Yep, top one.
Kawawa on Monday.
You've probably seen the illustrations, but she is a very gifted individual. And Oni-san, that this is just what he's referred to. We really don't even get to see his face. A typical salaryman has the weekly duty of protecting high school student Ai-chan from gropers by escorting her during their Monday morning train commutes. Despite the short time Oni-san and Ai-chan spend together, they manage to bond and learn more about each other's lives. To help Oni-san get through his Monday blues, Ai-chan gives him small presents as motivation. Ai-chan and many other girls who all share a certain attractive trait lighten up the Mondays of their male friends and colleagues for the long week ahead.
Interesting.
Like one week, she gave her the button off of her jacket because she's so gifted. She frequently pops buttons. There was another series that in the same universe that I would include in there with it. I just don't remember the name of it at this exact second, but similar situation. Because as it mentions, there's multiple other girls in the series. I is one of them, and then there's actually a relationship that forms with one of the others.
Interesting. Ross in the chat says, I-chan is Darren and Ross approved.
About
So,
to say, but Ross, tell me, what about her mother and her sister? Because her mother, with that one scene in particular, was quite interesting. Yes, Gambare. Yes, Gambare Doki-chan.
Dorobuku-chan, as Ross says in chat. We ready for our top threes?
And the reason it's not considered slice of life is because it's considered comedy romance ecchi. Yep,
We got 25 minutes left to get through 6 more shows between the two of us. Number 3 on my list was the helpful fox Senko-san. Like many hardworking members of the workforce, Garuto Nakano is perpetually stressed out by his job. Still, he lives alone. He must carry on to sustain himself. Little do humans like Kokoro know that this stress takes on the form of darkness residing within a person's body and will bring one's life to ruin. Fox deities can see this darkness and have the duty to save people before it's too late. To help rid Kuroto of his stress, Senko-san, an 800-year-old fox girl, volunteers to take care of him and will do everything she can to ease the tension in his weary soul. There's a story of this adorable little fox that you can see here named Senko, who comes into the life of this salaryman and does everything she can, from cooking and cleaning to massaging, and even the unthinkable for a fox deity, letting him touch her tail and ears every now and then, to try to take away the stress and pamper him. Along the way, some of her fox friends come and make some mischief, which also ends up involving his neighbor, who you see with the glasses in the back here, and some other things and hijinks happen. Really cute, really good slice of life show. Something you can sit back and enjoy and just forget. Like, the show helps you forget your struggles because you're just laughing some of the hijinks and the stupidness that happens in it.
Yep.
And this one, it says a 7.31. I would definitely give this one probably around a 7.8.
I could agree to that.
Number 3 on your list.
Let's see. Number 3 on my list would be the Helpful Fox Single song.
Oh, so we actually had 2 in the same spot, 6 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee that the next 2 we do not have. You probably don't have either of these shows in yours. For my top
Nope.
2.
Nope. One of them we've already gone over for you that just was lower on your list.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, I should have said that my top 2 you will not have.
Well,
I would be surprised if you had either of them.
I will be surprised if you have this. If you had my number 2.
My number 2, Love Live Superstar.
Nope. I'm not a Love Live person.
And Love Live, like all 4 variations of Love Live, are considered slice of life. Love Live Superstar, I just love the
Why, thank you, Roth.
the one thing that I liked about Superstar as opposed to all of the rest of the Love Lives is how this one started off with, as you can see here, just 5 girls, where every other variation of a Love Live felt like it was like, okay, we're jumping right to 9.
Oh.
They started off with 5 girls. Season 2, they added it up. They added 4 more. And like season 1, these 5 are all freshmen. Season 2, they're now second years, and they add 4 girls who are underclassmen. Season 3, they're all third years getting ready to graduate. So the 4 girls underneath of them are all second years, and they bring in a couple of new first years to join them as well. So I kind of like how it showed the progression. They weren't trying to save a school like the first couple of Love Lives. It was just, hey, it's a new school. We want to make sure that we're good at stuff. One student's like, I really enjoy the idol culture. I want to start an idol group. And that's kind of how everything starts. It was an idea. They talk Kanan, the orange-haired girl, into joining after hearing her singing to herself, and realizing that she's got an amazing voice. Kanan has to overcome an issue where she freaked out as a kid when performing up on stage, and since then has avoided doing that up until she joins the group. And it's just a really good story from there. I like the fact that it was different from every other Love Live that I had watched. That's why I had to put it up there. That's why it's got my number 2. Is I really enjoyed the show. It was a tough choice between this one and Senko as to which one to put 2 and which one to put 3.
Gotcha.
And number 2 on your list, Darren.
That would be the one I know you don't have. Gatchaman wa Usagi desu ka? Is the Order a Rabbit? They've actually made multiple seasons out of this show.
I have heard of this one. I remember you talking about it, but I have not seen it.
Coffee, green tea. Coffee, green tea. That's where that meme comes from. Basically, the rabbit on top of Chino's head there
Yeah.
is supposedly her grandpa in terms of kind of like the spirit of her grandpa inhabiting the rabbit, or her grandpa got turned into a rabbit somehow due to something.
Okay.
But Chino-chan is adorable. Kokoa is also, all the girls are just adorable. So Kokoa Hoto is a positive and energetic girl who becomes friends with anyone in just 3 seconds. So major props to her for that. After moving in with the Kafu family in order to attend high school away from home, she immediately befriends the shy, precocious granddaughter of the Rabbit House Cafe's founder, Chino Kafu, who is often seen with the talking rabbit Tippy on her head. After beginning to work as a waitress in return for room and board, Coco also befriends another part-timer, Rize Teresa, who has unusual behavior and significant physical capabilities due to her military upbringing. Shiya Ujimatsu, a waitress from a rival cafe who does everything at her own pace, and Shadow Kirima, another waitress at a different cafe who has the air of a noblewoman despite being impoverished. With fluffy silliness and caffeinated fun, Gachimemo Usugi Desuka, or Is the Order a Rabbit, is a heartwarming comedy about five young waitresses and their amusing adventures in the town they call home. This show has been so wholesome and so adorable that we're on season 4 now, I think.
Oh wow. And Ross in the chat first said that Chino was his favorite, but then he took that back and said Megu is number 1, Chino is number 2.
Megu, I believe, comes in the later seasons.
All right.
Which I need to catch up on. I watched season 1 and part of season 2, but I never got it past that because there was just too many other shows coming out.
So do you have any idea what might be my number 1?
Honestly, oh, I don't know why I just did that. Give me like 2 seconds. So drum roll, people. Uh, I know you didn't watch Eurocamp.
Nope.
I know you didn't watch Non Non Viore, which I need to watch.
This show actually got a lot lower score than I would have given it. I would have given, because of how much I enjoyed this show, I would have given it a 9. It got just under a 7.0. I'm not going to give the exact rating because that would give it away, but I'm going to say it was just under a 7.0.
Just under a 7, dang.
I thought it was a lot better. Like I like this show enough that I've looked into getting the manga for this series too. Ross in the chat asked, "Is it Banished Hero?" No, it's not.
Banished Hero isn't even
Slice of life.
Honestly, I have no idea.
All right. Drum roll, please. By the grace of the gods. Deep in the forest, far from any human contact, there lives a child named Ryoma Takabayashi. He engages in the rather strange hobby of keeping various types of slimes as pets. Furthermore, despite his young age, he has a sturdy physique and good compatibility for magic. All of this is because, having endured much hardship in his previous life, 3 gods graced Ryoma with a second chance to pursue one goal: savor the wonders of life. After 3 years of comfortable solitude pass by, Ryoma meets people that will change his current life forever. When he encounters and helps some soldiers tend to their wounded comrade, the group convinces him to accompany them to visit the nearby town's ducal family. Ryoma agrees and soon embarks on a journey to explore the vast world beyond his home. Basically, Ryoma was a salaryman who basically worked himself to death in the most ridiculous way possible. He sneezed in his sleep and hit his head.
Well, at least it's still not as embarrassing as Kazuma.
Yeah. And he ends up, becoming a tamer and is able to tame slimes. Which the 3 years that he's there, he studies the slimes. And the tale, basically, he helps save the life of a soldier who had been attacked, by bandits and by monsters in the area. After he helped save the soldiers' lives, they end up, like a couple weeks later, come back with the Duke that they actually protect and his family, and that's when they convince Ryoma to leave. I'm getting distracted by Ross in the chat. But it's really a very cute slice of life show. I think you would enjoy it, Darren. There is like a slight romance aspect, but again, it's between Ryoma that you see here holding the slime and the blonde girl who's the daughter of the Duke. They're both like 10 years old, so it's not much of like a love story. You can tell that they're friends, and you can tell that there's more there, but neither one really know what's going on with that. I think if they continued on as they got older, you could see a romance develop there.
Gotcha.
But it's like too soon to tell. You can just tell that their friendship grows. It's like the beginning of really good childhood friends. Which I know you love the childhood friend aspect of shows.
Oh yes, I really do.
So number 1 on your list, you said that it's one that I already had on mine.
Yeah, it is. Well, you probably already know it too.
I'm sure I know it, but I'm drawing a blank. The Dragon Maid?
Yeah, it's Dragon Maid. Out of all the ones that were actually considered slice of life, that one had to be my favorite of the bunch. Now, I will say this. There are quite a few shows on the first page of the slice of life list that I have been meaning to watch. I don't know if there were several on there that you were meaning to watch, but maybe we could use the rest of the last 10 minutes to go over some that we considered watching and just never had the time to start.
I don't know if there was more on there that I had considered watching or not.
I have quite a few.
Let's pull this down here. I do want to take a moment before I pull that up. Last week we welcomed, Jalil. It was great to see Jalili back in the chat. She did send me an email. If you're in the New York City area, Jalili is working with a nonprofit organization called 1010 NYC, and they are hosting an idol audition coming up May 2nd. So it's showing semifinal date is May 2nd. The finals will be sometime in July. So the audition, from what I see on the website, and if you're interested in looking it up, it's 1010. That's spelled out as the words TENTEN .NYC is the website. Says it's a special event bringing together J idol culture enthusiasts and Kagai idols from around the world. It says the audition will feature 3 exciting categories. A beginner's category, which is idol discovery audition, a showcase audition with intermediate and experienced categories, and a wotage competition, thrilling showdown where fans can show off their best idol support moves. Bring your pen lights and energy to impress the judges. They are honored to have Karen Iwata, who is a former AKB48 member and voice actress from the AKB0048 anime. She'll join as a judge for the idol performers auditions. So again, if you're interested, head over to 1010 Idol. Looks like the it's open now until 4:15. So I think that applications are done. Like I said, the competition is going to be held on May 2nd. Trying to see if it shows where they're going to be. Showing May 3rd and 4th, they're going to have a Kawaii holiday market at 9 West 8th Street, New York City. So if you're interested in checking that out, be sure to, like I said, go and check out the website. I wanted to give them a little bit of promotion since they are doing their idol semifinal competition this coming Friday. So, and we are in talks with Julie about getting her on the show to talk more in depth about what 1010 NYC is, and hopefully we can get a date set in stone and figure that out. So once we know more, we'll obviously have more information, but I just wanted to share that real quick because Julie has been, a guest on the show and a wonderful viewer who has tuned in many times, and so we like promoting people. So here we are going down the list. Slice of life, and you said there was stuff on the first page that you wanted to
that I've been meaning to watch. Yeah, that I've been meaning to watch. And Ross, just to let you know, my anime list does not classify Angel Tales as a slice of life. It classifies it as a comedy, fantasy, and romance.
And John Knight says today is Linda Young's 72nd birthday. She was the voice of Frieza in Dragon Ball franchises.
Yep. I got my picture with her. And she was one of the ones that we would have to Anime-Zing fairly frequently. At one point, we had all 3 Friezas there. We had her, we had the Japanese voice of Frieza, and then we had the other one that recently passed away after Linda had retired. Which one was that again, Doug?
I don't know because I never paid much attention.
Was it Greg Ayers? Who was the voice actor that had? I think it was cancer that passed away within the past few years.
Chris Ayers.
Chris Ayers. Yeah, a couple of years ago, we had him, Linda, and the Japanese voice actress of Frieza all at the convention together, and doing a panel together.
Yeah, Chris Ayers, Linda Young, and Ryusuke Nako.
Yep.
So slice of life. I guess one that I might have looked into was Laid Back Camp at one point in time, but I could never figure out where to find it, and then I just kind of forgot about it. I've heard good things about Laid Back Camp. I've also heard good things about Wolf Children.
Yep. And then also to throw on that list, Girls Last Tour. I've heard good things about as well. But probably the number one show on this list that I've been meaning to watch is Kyoko. That's one of
Yoka,
those.
this one
Yep,
right here.
yep. One of those older school romance slice of life. Well, actually, it's more of a mystery.
It says mystery slice of life school.
Yep. I think it's got some romance aspects to it, but um, it's one that I've definitely been meaning to watch for years. Um, let's see, Girls Live, I believe it was called. Whenever it came, no, School Live. Whenever it came out, the one about the cute girls and the zombie apocalypse, basically.
This one here.
Gakuyo Garashi, yep. That one was a popular one. Um, the They have to live their entire life in the school grounds because it's a zombie world outside of it.
My God, we are almost out of time. We've got 2 minutes left.
I know.
Holy cow, where did the time go? Non-Biori, I've heard good things about.
Non Biori is definitely one I've been meaning to watch. I've seen clips at it for years because of Renge. If you see the little girl with purple hair and the recorder coming out of her mouth, there were multiple memes made back in the day regarding that. Let's see. Tamako Market is another one that my friends completely raved about, or Tamako Love Story.
They
But
both are right there with Non-Biori. Ross in the chat is asking, does my anime list Suku Gare as romance?
Tsukigakire, that's considered romance, not slice of life.
Okay.
I know about that series. It's a very good one. Let's see. The Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting has also been on my list. Hanamaru Kindergarten is another one that I've been meaning to watch, along with Gakuen Babysitters.
Then you had Natsumi's Book of Friends that had so many different seasons.
Yep, I think I saw at least 6 seasons. Akabi-chan's Sailor Uniform was one that my friends watched for the uniform, obviously. Let's see. The Kimi to Boku, You and Me, 4 childhood friends in their second year of high school. Kirino Mosaic is known mostly for the character design and a couple of memes over the years.
Yeah.
Aria the Animation, same thing, kind of just known for the artwork. Sakura Quest, I was gonna start and never did.
Oh wait, I think I watched that one.
You did?
I think I did watch that one. That looks familiar.
Huh.
Shows you how memorable it was. I forgot I even watched it, but yeah, I did watch that.
Okay. And then the other one that I definitely think that both of us should watch is Mysteria Friends.
What is it? Mysteria Friends?
Yeah, or Minaria Friends. It's toward the bottom. There it is, bottom left. Oh,
This
there
one?
you go. Yep. Mysteria Academy is a prestigious magic school that teaches magic without discrimination to the 3 factions: men, gods, demons, who usually engage in battle with each other. Two of the academy students are Anne, a princess, an honor student, and Garrett, a princess born from a dragon and a human. I've heard good things about it. It's been one of those shows that was entertaining. Do It Yourself was on there.
Yeah.
Mitsuboshi Colors is another one that has been memed in the internet because you had the three girls with a rocket launcher.
Okay.
Let's see,
I'm not
girls.
gonna lie, Mitsubishi Colors kind of reminds me of one of the bands in Show by Rock Mashumayaresh. They remind me of Raging Signal a little bit with just their color scheme.
Let's
And
see.
anybody who knows Raging Signal and knows the story of that band, you'll understand what I mean by the colors of yellow, red, and blue, and especially specifically that shade of blue.
And probably the last one on here.
Polar
would
Bear
be
Cafe for you?
No, Girlish Number. I meant to start that, but I didn't. College student determined to not do boring things.
I would put Centaur's Life was in consideration for my top 10 because it was a good show. There was just other shows I enjoyed more. But all in all, I think it still was a decent show. So I hope everybody out there enjoyed our top 10 list, or our top 10s of the Slice of Life shows as per deemed Slices of Life by my Anime List website.
Which shuttered quite a few, surprisingly, but I mean, it's kind of a good thing because it kind of gave us a break or a definite distinction from other genres.
Yeah, I think it was interesting to go back and look through and be like, oh, well, this show is considered slice of life. This one's not, but I thought it was because it felt like it. So it's kind of neat to see how certain places categorize certain shows. I hope everybody enjoyed today's show. We are out of time. We've run a little bit over, which happens from time to time. I want to thank all of you amazing people for tuning in the chat room, all of you awesome people who are listening via the podcast platform anywhere in the world. Thank you so much for all the support and love that you give our show. Keep listening. We will be back again next week. I am not sure if I will be here or not. I am on the extra list, so anything can happen this week. I will say that much. And but until next Sunday, when Angela should return, and you'll at least have Angela and Darren, and possibly me as well. I hope everybody has a safe and happy week out there. Enjoy the animes, and we'll see you again here for more Anime-Zing Radio right out here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Have a good night, everyone.